Kristen.
And I'm Emilio.
We are in Cranmore Meadows, North Carolina.
And this is our tiny home that we rent and live in full time.
I knew Emilio for 2 years before we got married. We were like colleagues at school and classmates, but I didn't know that they lived in a tiny home. Yeah, we just kind of connected over the summer. So my first experience in a tiny home was when this house was in the meadow across the way. And I was just blown away. I mean, I think that was our first date, kind of. I came over and you cooked me food.
We made a fire and
we made a
cooked
fire.
some mushrooms.
Yeah, and I was just really blown away. I, got the grand tour. I took a walk through all the fields, and I was just like, this is an incredible place.
We're both in the same program at UNC in English and Comparative Literature, both trying to get our PhDs. I'm originally from Ecuador. When I first came to the United States, one of my teachers gave me the book Into the Wild, and that was like a breakthrough moment for me. I was like, this makes a lot of sense. Like, I found a kind of affinity with that search for kind of meaning through experiences and being out in the world and kind of breaking away from a lot of the constraints that are placed upon us. So this is Andares. It's about 8.5 by 20 feet. I've been living in Andares for a whole year, just about since last June.
One of my favorite things about the exterior of the home, or what makes it unique as a tiny home, is that it's got both metal and shingle on it. It just makes it look like this little spaceship in the woods that I really love.
Yeah, so come on in.
Welcome to our tiny home full of books and plants.
And cacti.
Which are plants.
You're right. So this is where we spend most of our time when we're here. And I had tried a couple of different things when I first moved in, so I had a little couch for a little bit, but I realized it took up too much space, and what I really wanted was just a place to put my books. So there's the kind of ledge right here, and I found it just very functional, and I'm a graduate student who reads a lot, so it's just a great place to rotate kind of the books or the things that I'm really drawing inspiration from. Like this Elizabeth Cotten folk songs and instrumentals with guitar, which is just an excellent record from a Carborough local Elizabeth Cotten. So it just feels really good to have that kind of changing mood board. In my own research, I'm always shifting books, and I find that the stacks are just a great way of inhabiting that. And moving on, again, as a graduate student who has a lot of books, I love that this tiny house has these cabinets that are just the perfect size as little bookshelves. So this is the storage here, and then really nicely the storage here for the tiny, we can just kind of stuff some stuff here. I have a lot of ice climbing stuff that I don't use all the time because we're in North Carolina, but I can kind of safely put it there, and it's out of the way, but still plenty of space. This goes all the way to the end of the wall there. And we've just been able to really work with these small cabinets in terms of rotating our clothes around. This is the biggest one. And just, I love the design of the stairs. They're very functional in a way that I didn't expect it when I first moved into the house, because they seem to take a lot of space, but they provide a lot of furniture too. So people sit on the steps all the time. And so it's multi-function in that way. And yeah, I love the wood, the way that it's kind of exposed. It feels really organic, and at the same time we have the railing that's metal, so the kind of contrast of materials I think is really generative to be around, and I think it works really well, particularly since so much of the materials here are kind of salvaged or came from different sources and locations. I really appreciate that.
So back here we have the kitchen, which also has a lot of really smart storage, and you can see the motif of the exposed wood or raw edge wood is continued on these shelves, and these are some of my favorite shelves in the kitchen. They're just really sturdy and add a lot of character to the different colored wood in the space. So this is where we keep a lot of our knickknacks and stones that we find. This is a pretty cool rock that we found on the land. and some of our like glassware. But a few features that are really wonderful about the kitchen are the very deep sink. It's huge. You can wash a very big pan in here, which I appreciate in a tiny home. And again, lots of really lovely storage. We've got drawers and cabinet space here, and our full range stove. I spent a lot of time in this spot, and it's a very well-loved spot. The one thing that we are missing that I have missed as a newcomer to the tiny home living has been the oven. This is because I love to bake. But luckily, the community has a kitchen at the front of the land, so I've been able to bake after all. Just really lovely storage in the kitchen, above and below. And another great practical feature is the washer-dryer combo, which is something I had never seen before in a tiny home, but you can do both in this one machine, which is pretty great. We are surrounded by storage, I think. This home was really made intentionally to allow a lot of space for cooking materials, and again, lots of really lovely light for our plants. It's a very cozy kitchen.
Thanks to our sponsor, Sunday. Do you like the squish of grass between your toes? I sure do. Now that we're proud owners of a tiny homestead, we're working to create a little slice of paradise, and that's why I dig Sunday Lawn Care. Simply by inputting your address into their site, they use climate data to create a custom lawn plan to ensure success. It's like magic. No, it's science. Sunday provides support and custom nutrients to help you cultivate rich living soil, creating a more self-sustaining, healthy lawn. After entering the coordinates of our secret lair, they shipped us our customized plan right to our door. Bada boom! Our starter box came with everything we need to get going and nothing we don't. As part of the bundle, we'll get seasonal deliveries at the right time and unlimited expert support from a real live human. Now it's time to feed our grass with Sunday's nutrient-rich, tasty treats. Nom 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 nom. Ready to nurture a healthy lawn? Then try Sunday today. Use the code TINY20 to enjoy 20% off. See the link below.
Something that's been really great about being in this tiny kitchen is also just downsizing and not having so many plates and so we basically have things for us and for a few guests, and so when we invite people we often ask them to bring their own forks, yeah, and just silverware, and that's been really just great in terms of not having too much stuff, you know, in order to keep it organized, we've been really strategic about what do we actually need. So we just wash 2 forks instead of having a dishwasher full of stuff. So it's been okay to not have a dishwasher in that way. Yeah, so the back door that we have is also really wonderful, both for just kind of keeping it open in the summertime. You can have both doors open and just really feel the breeze, and that's really wonderful.
This is a multi-use countertop, I would say, where, you know, if there's not enough room on the cutting board for some reason, I can bring things over here. Or when we're entertaining, this is usually where we lay out the food for a family style kind of plating.
Yeah, and we actually don't eat on this counter space as much as you would think. So I've written a good amount of my dissertation just kind of sitting here looking out the window. Most of the time it's either a plate of food or just the different books, and as a literary scholar I love that I can really splay my materials out. So I can have these big textbooks and open a couple of them at a time and then kind of move things around, and I work kind of very manually. I have all my references out and write by hand quite a bit, so I've been really using this space functionally in a way that I hadn't really before. I've grown to love the desk, whereas before I didn't actually use a desk very much. The design has actually been really functional for my own research and academic practice in a way that I didn't expect when I first moved in here. The stacks of books are very underrated as a way of mapping connections and also engaging with the material.
And so where we eat is often outside.
Yeah, yeah.
We often eat outside, just on the ground or on the stairs. One of us will lean here and another one of us will sit on the stairs.
So we're the only rental unit here that's full-time and long-term. It's a special situation because I've known Callie and Nathan for so long that I've just been working for them for a while. So the land costs, I offset most of it by working the soil. This last little week, I Kristen and I together did a lot of mulching. I'm regularly on a schedule to mow the lawn. I've helped with the construction in the back. I've helped with the construction in the front. I've replanted trees. I've just done a whole bunch of stuff.
You do a lot.
And then for the lot itself, I paid $250 a month, which is just really a blessing. So that's about what the rent is, and then electricity. Yeah, as a grad student who is paid like well below minimum wage, it helps me maintain a standard of living that would be impossible otherwise, and I really appreciate that about it. Because I really love that I get to work the land, which feels very meaningful and rewarding, and as something that is going to kind of outlast me. And so if you follow the gorgeous stairs up to the loft, we have our queen-size bed up there, fully quilted and comfy, and more stacks of books. And our wedding photo. And our wedding photo. Yeah, I think our sleeping space is intentionally calm and welcomes a lot of really good nights of sleep. Such Fragonard-like reflections can no more convey their white and red than if someone in love told you. And allows the design of the house to really speak for itself too. I've lived in a lot of apartments where I felt like I just need to cover up the walls with things, and I need to really kind of like make the walls say things, where here I feel like the house itself is just so great that it feels good to kind of strip back and let the house itself be the art. So the loft here, actually the original owner wanted to have a bed there, and I think when she lived here for a little bit, she did have a bed there, and so there was a bed on the other loft and then on this side, and that was originally for her kids. But as a kids-less couple, it's become the site for all of our books. And so there's this little really wonderful ladder that you can kind of come up, and we just have a rug up here, our lovely Hoya child. And just a lot of books, and this is a place where we've spent a lot of time too, reading to each other, doing a lot of work. If there's two of us working here, one will be in the loft and one will be downstairs. It makes it feel very spacious as well, because when you're up here you kind of get an overview of the whole house, but you also kind of feel like you're not just cramped up, which is something that I really love, that kind of two-level separation. The height really adds a lot, and it makes the house feel not so much like a tiny home, because here I have like this full office. Probably my favorite part of the tiny house, actually. Here, I'm really grateful for the design. It's been really conducive to my thinking and growing as a person. So down here in kind of like the furthest end of the house, we have the most exciting part, which is the bathroom and the compost toilet. So you'll see behind my Hoya curtain here, we have a full-size bathtub, which is really lovely, a really luxurious feature of the house that we've used quite a bit. It's really great for Epsom salt hot baths in the wintertime. We've really enjoyed the tub. We also have just a really well-designed sink and vanity area. We don't really like having too many mirrors, so we just have, I actually had to bring a couple mirrors into the home. But then the most exciting part of the bathroom is, of course, as I mentioned, the compost toilet. This is where we, do the business. It's a really smart design, this little plastic toilet. It's got the crank where you agitate things and separates wet and dry materials really efficiently, and is just a simple design. It's very easy to take out of the house to clean. Yeah, it really hasn't been a hassle or anything difficult. It's been quite lovely to not waste potable water. The only interior door in this house is the bathroom door, and it just slides really nicely in and out. And so it gives us perfect privacy, but doesn't take up any space, right? It just fits flush into the wall. And yeah, it just works for us. In terms of sound, you can also yell into the top of the railing and hear it distorted through the metal into the bottom of the railing, which is fun. But on a more serious note... I didn't realize you were going to say that. Yeah, people are going to think we're really weird just reading poetry into the metal tubes. I mean, we are. We're very much into like alternative living here, so that's part of it. Holy the sea, holy the desert, holy the railroad, holy the locomotive, holy the visions, holy the hallucinations, magnanimity. holy, the supernatural, extra brilliant, intelligent kindness of the soul. There's a lot to be said about the charged atmosphere of North Carolina, and in the late spring and summer you can really hear the banjo frogs playing their banjos, and all the fireflies come out and all the cicadas start singing and dancing. It's a very buzzing feeling, and I felt this feeling when I was with Kristen, and so it kind of felt very right to be together. And then we really leaned into it over the summer, and kind of in a, like the fiery furnace of North Carolina, got married really like quickly, just because of just being very passionate.
Yeah, we're just deeply in love, and so we're kind of inseparable, and so we have been gradually, like I have been gradually kind of like moving into the tiny home or getting used to tiny living. We've also been intentional about how we want to be as a unit, and like in the decision to get married, we want to, you know, be married in a way that feels genuine to us and doesn't like fit some kind of standard that we're trying to meet. And so part of that was like, yeah, having our own spaces and having places to go if we need space.
It's interesting because we have all of these houses that look the same, that are not built very well, but yet we continue to build them. And then this kind of rhymes with the way that we see kind of marriage, and a lot of people expect you to be married in a particular kind of way, or think that these are the only ways that you can be married, and just follow the same kinds of models, which are kind of like the same kinds of homes. So it's been really amazing to have met someone who's also committed to kind of idiosyncrasy of marriage. I think when we told people we're getting married, and also that we have these two different, that we don't spend every moment together in the same house, people have been very kind of like taken back, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just not something that they're used to hearing. And because there's a lot of ways to be in love, and they don't always have to follow the same kinds of scripts. And so it's been really, I feel very lucky to have met someone like you.
Me too.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.